What's up guys, Ergor here again, and today we're going to be trying something a little different. I don't often do live reactions to gameplay reveals, but I thought it'd be kind of fun to give it a shot. Today is going to be the 3.26 Secrets of the Atlas reveal for PoE 1. So we're going to check that out live and see how it goes. Let me know what you guys think of this format, and let's get into it. Okay. Less than 2 minutes out. Let's go. I'm pretty excited for this. It's been almost a year since our last new content drop. Well, our last new league, I should say. Because, like, the legacy of Frisia was new content. It just wasn't really a league. I didn't really play Frisia that much, though, to be honest. I played it, I think I played a couple days, but I didn't really get sucked into it like I usually do for PoE League. So I haven't really solidly played PoE 1 since Settlers came out. And Settlers came out in July last year, didn't it? I'm pretty sure it was July. Alright, here we go. Exciting. Let's see. What do you got for us? Wonder who's doing the voiceover. Hey, Jonathan.
Hi.
Yep.
I'm Jonathan Rogers from Grinding Gear Games.
Hi, Jonathan.
And today we're here to showcase a new expansion for PoE 1. It's certainly been too long since we had one of these.
Yeah.
Now, we had some struggles as a studio for a little while there, but we've got our shit together and we're back in action now.
Good.
Path of Exile Secrets of the Atlas is coming out 1 week from now on the 13th of June. And we're committing right now to a 4-month cycle for both PoE 1 and 2.
Ooh,
that means
okay.
the next PoE 2 league will be in August.
That's pretty
and the next
big.
PoE 1 league after that will be in October. Twitch drops are enabled on today's livestream, so you'll be able to claim your Skull of Undeath helmet skin by following the instructions below. This Skull of Undeath will track and show your total number of kills, deaths, and your KDR.
Oh, that's kind of
Just because
cool.
Path of Exile isn't a first-person shooter doesn't mean this isn't important. Proudly or shamefully, link it to your friends or in global chat to show it off. And with that, let's get to why you're here. Secrets of the Atlas.
Boy.
You can search 1,000 worlds and still never truly discover who you are. Trust me. I should know. But now, I seek something more tangible. Someone I care for, trapped within the Atlas.
Yep, there she is. We knew that was coming.
Memories made real.
What have you done?
Made grotesque. Made foul.
New boss?
These manifestations must be destroyed.
Multiple new bosses.
Their threads must be eradicated.
Cool.
I must have answers. We must find the originator. We must save my sister.
Oh, sister. Okay, interesting. Right, here we go. Show us the mechanics. New in-game mechanics. New pinnacle bosses. Okay, that's exciting. And we knew crafting was coming. A completed King's March. Oh. Rune graphs. What the fuck?
Drink deep the waters of life.
We knew betrayal rework was coming. What the fuck is a rune graph?
Or a target.
Target inside.
Job's done.
Mercenaries? What the fuck? That's so cool. I didn't expect we'd be getting mercenaries.
Your sanity is not promised to you here.
Okay. That's interesting.
Hi, I'm Mark Roberts,
What
Game
up, Mark?
Director on Path of Exile.
Well, hi, Mark.
As you just saw from the trailer, there's a lot to show you. Today, we will take you on a deep dive into the new Path of Exile Secrets of the Atlas in-game update. Then, we'll explore the new Challenge League, the Mercenaries of Trarthus. After that,
Oh,
we'll
the
cover
mercenaries
the integration
of
of Gold into
League.
PoE 1
Okay.
and how we're bringing Settlers of Calgur into the core game. Finally, we have a much-awaited upgrade to Betrayal League and a set of quality of life improvements. Then, we'll wrap up by discussing our boss kill race event, showing you our new supporter packs, and ending with a live Q&A session, where Ziggy D will ask Jonathan and I
All right.
questions from Twitch chat.
Let's see it.
In Path of
Exciting.
Exile Secrets of the Atlas, strange rifts have begun to appear across the Atlas. Zana has returned and appears to be trapped within. Partway through the endgame, you will meet Egan, an intelligent man of mysterious heritage. These tears in reality he has discovered are actually threads of memory, distorted and made real by the Atlas. Egan is able to create a link to these memory threads and open portals to them. Working with
Okay.
Egan, you must step through and find Zana, or whatever remains of her.
So we're gonna learn a lot about Zana.
Okay, so that's the
and,
story background.
Shaper.
But how does this expansion actually work? In the Secrets of the Atlas, the pursuit of Zana with Egon is a new storyline that is introduced in high-tier maps. Upon meeting Egan and discovering the tier, he will then transfer it to your map device and reveal this on your atlas. A
Oh,
thread of memories.
so it's like
In
the
order
memories
to now
we've been
access each
doing.
map on the thread, you simply need to talk to Egan when you're ready, and he'll open the areas in sequence. These areas can be fully influenced by your atlas tree, scarabs, fragments, and everything of the sort. As you work your way along the
Okay.
thread, you will discover that these maps have manifested dangerous threats, influenced by the memories of Zana herself. Monsters here are imbued with memory petals. Defeat them to absorb this power, which can be unleashed as a special ability during combat. Different maps on the thread have different abilities, and these abilities appear on an additional mini skill bar next to your regular skills. For example, Memory of Disbelief will cause all affected monsters to stop dropping equipment items, meaning they can now only drop more valuable items, like currency and maps. Memory of Panic will make all affected monsters revive immediately after death, which means you can get twice as much experience and drops from them. And Memory of Impatience
Must
will
be on
cause
there.
all surrounding enemies to give you their souls, temporarily increasing your power. As you progress further into the thread of memories, the maps can have more than one memory, and thus you can have more than one powerful ability. As you gather memory petals, you can use these powers together.
That's
Each
cool.
skill costs its own amount of memory petals. So using the examples above, you can first use Memory of Impatience to become way more powerful, then use Memory of Panic to prepare them to revive when they are slain, then use Memory of Disbelief to cause them to drop better, more valuable items.
That's pretty
Finally,
interesting.
obliterate them all. The Memory of Panic will kick in, causing them to revive, and then wipe them out again, allowing you to get all the experience and enhanced drops twice. There are many combinations of these powers, so you'll have to carefully consider how they best work together.
That's gonna be a very interesting way to.
That's not the only extra layer of
enhance our
content
loot.
juicing these maps offer. As you defeat the boss of each map along the thread, you are presented with an altar.
Ooh.
This altar will apply a modifier to all following maps in the thread, and these will stack as you go. So the deeper you delve into a memory, the more mods you will have.
Cool.
This, combined with the special abilities, will allow for some of the most juice maps ever run in Path of Exile.
And that's saying
Let's
something.
take a look at some of the altar mods. You are always presented with two choices and must pick one. This mod, for example, will cause some rare monsters to be possessed by tormented spirits,
Okay.
where this mod makes Kerak modifiers free to craft. Both of these apply to all subsequent maps in the thread.
That's pretty good,
The
actually.
final map in each thread is a true challenge, with all the altar mods applying to it and guarded by a powerful boss. Each of these bosses are familiar, but dreamlike, drawn from Zana's memories and warped by the Atlas into something very different and terrifying.
Interesting. So we're
In
gonna be
this
using
map,
campaign
you will fight
bosses.
the pinnacle boss, Cirrus. Fueled by Zana's affectionate memories of him, his enhanced abilities can prove to be a unique challenge. If you manage to defeat Cirrus, or one of the other warped memory bosses, they will drop a map fragment, which Egan can use to delve deeper into the memory tiers. With these, you can access a set of 3 new pinnacle bosses.
3 of them. Cool.
In this arena, the moment of reverence, Zana is reliving a memory of her father, Valdo, giving a passionate speech in Oriath. The Atlas distorts this memory of her father as a powerful, influential man and manifests those emotions into a twisted nightmare.
I thought her father was the
Incarnation of
Shaper.
dread.
Am I misremembering that?
Another memory created is the incarnation of neglect and the incarnation of fear. Good luck, exiles. Of course, if you are brave and strong enough to defeat them, each of these new pinnacle bosses have new unique items befitting them.
Cool.
If you slay the incarnation of fear, you might be lucky enough to find the Starcaller unique abyssal axe. We're gonna show this one because it's straight up badass. The Starcaller axe is a weapon that can harness the power of the stars themselves
That is pretty
to
cool
deal
looking.
immense damage. What makes it shine, however, is that on melee crit, it casts Starfall, a new skill.
This is
With the
baked
right
in
build,
cast on
you can
crit.
carpet entire areas and wipe out screens of enemies as you rain down the elements
That's
upon
really
them.
cool.
Another item you may find, and this one is my favorite, is the Wine of the Prophet unique flask. It consumes a lot of charges, but every time you use it, you
Divination
draw
buff.
a random divination card. This card appears above you and correlates to a
Interesting.
powerful buff. If you draw
Weird
the
that they're
escape
calling them
card, you'll gain
divination
increased movement speed. Or maybe you'll draw the Doctor, which will cause you to gain the modifiers of slain rares you kill.
That's cool.
Effectively, you can think of this unique as being many other uniques all in one. There are many cards to draw, each with varying degrees of power to grant.
Very RNG, but that's kind
Okay.
of cool.
But let's get back to the Atlas. After defeating all 3 new pinnacle bosses, you'll be able to find new memory-influenced Tier 16 maps. These maps come with the previously mentioned special abilities and monsters infused with memory pedals, but can also roll the same modifiers typically found on Tier 17 maps, making them far more rewarding. With all these new memory maps comes a new item mechanic. Items in these maps can drop with memory strands, and will have a random amount up to 100. This does a few
Is
things.
this gonna work
When you
like
identify the item, it will
forging
increase the tiers of modifiers your
potential?
item has. Generally speaking, the more memory strands, the better the item will be. On
It's
top
kind
of this,
yeah, it's
whenever
kind of
you're
like
crafting
forging
that item
potential in
using
Last
currency
Epoch.
odds to replace or add modifiers, such as alterations, chaos, and so forth, it will consume some memory strands to make the crafted mods more powerful. The
Interesting.
new pinnacle bosses also drop new crafting currencies, which can be used to manipulate the amount of memory strands on an item.
Makes sense.
The Orb of Remembrance will let you add memory strands to any normal equipment. So if you have your perfect base to craft on, and it doesn't already have memory strands, you can add some before crafting it. The Orb of Unraveling will consume all remaining memory strands on an item to randomly upgrade its mod tiers. This orb's effectiveness is based on the number of memory strands it consumes. The Orb of Intention can be used on memory influence maps to reduce item drops, but improve the chance to find items with memory strands.
Oh, that's interesting.
In the process
I don't
of
think
adding
we've
these
seen
new
anything
currency
like that
items, we realized something was missing. The Shaper and the Elder did not have their own Exalted Orbs. This has now been rectified. Both bosses now have Exalted Orbs, which can add their influence to an item.
Yeah, that's
Zana
definitely
was
good to
there
have.
from the beginning, when the Shaper Pinnacle fight was first added. She helped defeat the Elder, and she was a critical part of the Conqueror's storyline. Now, with all 6 influence types having their own Exalted Orbs, the cycle is complete. It's almost as if we could now do some sort of new, epic, unique item to interact with them. In other news,
Interesting.
there
I
of
wonder
course
what
has
that'll
to be
be.
Atlas passive tree support for this new endgame content. Let's take a look at a few things we're adding. The Grasp the Past notable passive skill increases the chance for the amount of memory strands on items dropped in your memory influence maps to be lucky. This means it will roll the number of memory strands twice, keeping the highest value. By allocating
Nice.
traumatic experience, remembered kindness, or educated upbringing, you'll decrease the chance of finding memory threads that lead to specific bosses. meaning you'll have better chances at finding the memory threads you would like to run. This is especially useful if you want to target farm a specific boss because of its unique item drops. In sum, the secrets of the Atlas will have you questioning what is real as you attempt to free Zana from warped memories scattered throughout the Atlas. You'll fight new Guardian and Pinnacle bosses tormenting her, find crazy new Pinnacle uniques, combine and unleash memory petal-empowered skills, juice maps to new heights, and craft powerful new items. While we were showing all the juicy rewards from the new in-game system,
this is good.
you might have noticed that a lot of gold was dropping.
I'm glad they're keeping
Let's talk
gold.
about that. Gold was introduced during the Settlers of Kalgur expansion. It funded the development and operations of King's March, along with various new features such as the currency exchange, the black market, and the passive respec system with Faustus. Those features offered by Faustus will be here to stay,
Good.
along with some of the other services King's March has to offer. We'll get more into that later, but don't worry.
I'm really
King's
glad
March
the
has
respec
already
is
been
staying.
completed. There will be no more town building. Like before, gold will be used for town services, but we're also adding a new way to use it in the upcoming league.
They're keeping
It's
the
time
map
to talk
device.
about Mercenaries
Interesting.
of Trarthus. In this league, you will meet veterans who have travelled all the way from the lawless cities of Trarthus. They're ready to offer their sinister services, but not for free. You will encounter these mercenaries as you journey through Rayclast, one in each area. They have their own personalities and come with different builds, skills, and items already equipped. After meeting them, as per the Trarthan code, they will challenge you to a duel, a test of strength and conviction. Before beginning the duel, you will be offered an overview of the mercenary you've encountered. Here, you can see the gear they have equipped, the skills they employ, and any support effects augmenting those skills.
It's pretty cool.
You must now make a choice. You can hire their services, take one of their items, or exile them. If you choose to hire them, for a gold cost, they will accompany you as a skilled combatant to assist you in fighting monsters throughout Rayclast. Once you've decided, you can begin the duel. This is a great opportunity to test them, as you don't want to be out of pocket with a useless rookie. However,
True.
they're testing you too. They also don't want to be working for an amateur. So, what items might they be using? Generally speaking, mercenary gear is more powerful than what you'd normally find from defeating monsters, as they've been crafting their items too.
Okay.
They can also come
Makes
equipped with
sense.
unique items, those that would make sense for the skills they are using. There are even some new unique items that can only be obtained from defeating them. One such unique is Scornflux. These boots combine agility with the mastery of the arcane. While equipped, increases to cast speed from Arcane Surge also apply
That's
to
really
movement speed,
cool.
which is worth noting is now 20% inherently from Arcane Surge, up from 10. They also grant
Not
Arcane
bad.
Surge when you use a movement skill. This allows for some speedy spellcasters. Sometimes you may meet particularly infamous Trarthan mercenaries, bearing the name of their house. These mercenaries descend from the 4 major death trade families in Trarthus. They are less common, but have far better items. And they are also the sole source of items with new, infamous modifiers, unseen before in Rayclast, such as these gloves, which convert all of your minions' fire damage to chaos damage.
That's pretty cool.
Or this helmet, which causes nearby enemies to take more physical damage as you gain more fortification.
That's also cool.
If you're not swayed by any
New
of their
mods are
equipped gear,
fun.
however, you can always challenge them for the contents of their pockets. If you lose the duel, don't worry. You don't need to give them an item. You aren't bound to Trarthan tradition like they are. However, you are bound to Rayclast tradition, so you'll just die.
Almost at me. Well, not really.
While playing in a party, each player can decide whether or not they want to participate in combat against the mercenary. For each player that opts in, the mercenary gets more difficult. But if they're
Sense.
defeated, each player has a 50% chance to get a random reward, which is usually currency items from the mercenary's pouch.
So if you're playing multiplayer, you can't hire
Alternatively,
them?
party members that opt out of the fight can spectate and cheer you on. Or they might wish for your demise, so they can pick up that allocated divine waiting off screen.
Dead. Good.
Let's say you won the duel, like their items, and have decided to hire them. What combat skills do they bring to the table? Each mercenary has an archetype. Here, this mercenary is an Eruptor, which perfectly couples with my slower, more aura-focused Scion. This mercenary is highly aggressive, and will get a lot of benefit from the auras and buffs I provided.
Interesting.
When I'm playing a more aggressive character myself though, I'll want a mercenary with a bit more resilience and utility. I've just run into a Striker, who can spawn with Vigilant Strike. And if you're lucky, a very rare golden support that causes the fortify granted by his
Golden
Vigilant
support?
Strike to apply to me as well.
That's cool.
He will also frequently use Enduring Cry, taunting enemies off of me, and operating as a tanky frontline while I blitz off damage from the back. Sometimes when you fight a mercenary, you may notice the skills they're using are different from normal. For example, this sniper is using a Trarthus version of Siege Ballista. If you're lucky, you will be able to select it as your reward when challenging them, then defeat them and they'll drop the Trarthus gem as promised.
That's so cool.
You can only have one mercenary accompanying you at a time, but up to 3 total in your service. The other 2 will wait patiently in town. Having varied options is useful, as there may be situations where you need specific backup.
So we've got
like a
new
difficult boss
skills too
fight.
now.
Any of your mercenaries you have active, or in your reserves, can have their equipment replaced with items of your choosing. They don't level up, so you will want to be looking out for more skilled and more powerful mercenaries as you advance through the campaign and endgame.
Makes sense.
If your mercenary falls in combat, you will need to return to town and spend some gold on healing supplies to get them back on their feet. Then perhaps consider giving them some upgrades, if you think it's deserved. I just wanted to clarify, mercenaries do not lose their equipment when defeated.
That's good to know.
If your merc buddy consistently fails you, you can just dismiss them and find a new, more resilient ally.
You walk your path, I'll walk mine.
I wonder what happens
Earlier,
if you
I
forget to
mentioned
take your
you could
items
exile
back.
mercenaries. If you keep running into a mercenary archetype and you think, man, this guy stinks, their gear is trash and they have no auras, you can then choose to exile them. If you win the duel, they'll be forced to leave with their tail between their legs, and you won't encounter that archetype again for a while. Now, alongside these new Trarthus arrivals, we shouldn't forget about the recent Kalgurin ones too.
Okay, let's see how this is going.
As we mentioned earlier, the Settlers update introduced gold-based respeaking of passive points. You can now do so by talking to a number of NPCs throughout Rayclast, starting
good.
with Bestel and Lionized Watch.
Which means we probably don't get King's March until later.
Black market item gambling, previously just available in King's March, is now available in each town at the same NPC. This lets you buy randomly generated item bases for gold. Very useful if you're stuck for upgrades or searching for a specific unique. The currency exchange will be returning too. Starting from Lionized Watch in Act 6, you'll be able to find Faustus, who can help
Okay,
facilitate
Act 6
these
makes
trades.
sense for that, I think.
Now, after almost a year of building, Johan is finally satisfied with the upgrades made to the town, and now its services can be used to their full effect. King's March is going core, but there will be no more town building.
I think that's a good choice.
As
to
you
be
start
honest.
running maps in the endgame, you'll start to find different ore veins, which Kalgurin workers can mine for you. The shipping mechanic invites you to send these ores and crops to Karui and Kalgurin ports, and they'll return rewards in kind. By sending shipments, you'll receive different items, but by sending to Karui ports, you will also receive tattoos,
I'm
which can be
surprised
used
they
on your
kept the
passive
ship.
tree to change what stats they grant. The Kalgurin ports will be sending back rune grafts, which is a new passive tree mechanic that replaces the runesmithing service previously offered by the town. These are similar to tattoos, but instead of replacing stat nodes, they replace a passive tree mastery node.
Oh,
For
interesting.
example, Runegraft of the Bound reduces bonuses gained from boots, but increases bonuses gained from gloves. Runegraft of the River has a chance to recover your life to full if you reach low life. And the Runegraft of Time, which has a chance for your cooldown skills to instantly recover from their cooldown, which I will
That's
note
pretty good.
includes cooldowns on your triggers, just in case you wanted to trigger even more spells.
It's kind of
There
crazy.
are many other Runegrafts which cover a wide range of different builds and stats. Some are more common and others rarer. You can only use one of a given type at a time, but you can use them on any mastery on your passive tree, which can be particularly useful for off-class investment. Isla has continued to make modifications to the Recombinator. She has developed a
Okay.
new method of recombination that you may recognize from Path of Exile 2. For those unfamiliar, this method allows you to decide which modifiers on the two input items you want to try merge together, and it has a success chance you can see. This method can result in the items being destroyed. However, it is a good option to use when trying to create items with fewer mods to use as crafting projects.
Yeah.
Given the existing recombinating mechanic was very powerful for top-end crafting, we didn't want to remove it. We have kept it, and you can now choose to use it the old way or the new way. By letting fate decide, it will combine the two items randomly. There is no risk of destroying either item, but it will be less predictable. As Settlers
good.
is
I'm
now
glad
a core
they're keeping
mechanic,
that.
we've also added Atlas passive tree support. For example, if you wanted to gather more Verisium ore, you could take this notable. Each ore has a similar node. Refiner's Bargain converts items dropped by possessed monsters into thaumaturgic dust, sulfite into random ores, and life force into random crops. We've also added a set of Kalguran scarabs, so you can add more ore deposits, increase the rarity of monsters that guard ore deposits to at least magic, or gather smelted bars from ore you mark instead of ores. To sum it all up, Kingsmarch is now a thriving town where you can employ a swath of workers to collect resources, refine ores, craft items, and run maps for you. Send shipments of resources in
Yeah,
exchange
I'm
for
really
tattoos
surprised
and
they're
rune
keeping the
grafts,
map device
using
in the
those to
ship.
modify your passive tree to an extent never seen before.
I thought those would be too powerful, to be
Following on
honest.
from that, we've also made a substantial rework to
Yeah, this
another
should be
important
juicy.
mechanic: betrayal. As a refresher, and to explain to new players, let's briefly explain what betrayal is. Betrayal is a mechanic introduced in Act 9 and tells the story of Jun Ortoy and her investigation of the Immortal Syndicate. This is a mysterious group of exiles who can seemingly come back from death. You must help Jun to uncover their leader, the Syndicate Mastermind. The Immortal Syndicate is organized into 4 divisions: transportation, fortification, research, and intervention. As you encounter the Immortal Syndicate members, you'll gain intelligence for each of these divisions to discover the location of their leaders, tracking them to their safe houses. Defeating the division leaders at their safe houses will reward you with intelligence on the Syndicate Mastermind. In your journey to track down the Syndicate leader, you'll manipulate the members of the Immortal Syndicate to change divisions, form friendships and rivalries, and even banish them from the Syndicate for a time. Historically, after encountering and defeating the Syndicate Mastermind, the state of the Immortal Syndicate would reset,
Is it not
requiring you to
good?
start from the beginning of the investigation again. This has always been a difficult decision for players and can often feel bad. Do you fight the Mastermind for a chance at the special loot, or keep farming the safe houses that you've spent so long setting up?
True.
Well, in the Secrets of the Atlas expansion, we've split out the Mastermind to be completely separate from the core mechanic.
Oh.
The boss is now accessible through a new fragment that has a chance to drop from the safe house leaders at high levels.
Okay.
The Mastermind
That's
no longer
interesting.
resets the state of the Immortal Syndicate. You can now build your betrayal board to your liking, optimize it, do Mastermind fights, and reap the rewards without having to lose all your progress every time.
That's a good change. For
The
sure.
boss fight itself has also been improved, now with significantly fewer immunity phases and
Good.
new rewards.
Holy crap.
By the way, if you're a new player to Path of Exile 1, don't worry about all this detail. This content is optional, and you can discover and engage with it at your own pace.
It's good to
The
mention
Mastermind
that,
still
honestly.
has a chance to drop a Veiled Orb, now renamed to Veiled Exalted Orb. Veiled Chaos Orbs are being re-added to other Safe House leaders. In addition, the Mastermind now drops the new All Flame Embers. All Flame Embers are map fragments that replace monster packs in in-game maps with different types of special monsters.
It's from
These packs have
Necropolis.
unusual properties, compositions, or rewards.
Interesting.
For example, you might use the All Flame Ember of Kulamak, which replaces packs with Syndicate monsters and their leaders, who revive after the map boss has been slain. This might at first sound annoying due to backtracking, but these monsters when revived are far more intense and rewarding.
I'm glad they're bringing back All Flames.
It is our intention with All Flames to provide many different types
It's
that
an
combine
interesting
with other
mechanic.
mechanics, multiplying with your existing modifiers in new and interesting ways. Another good example of this is the All Flame Ember of Propagation. When slain, special rare monsters added by this All Flame here will spread their modifiers to other rare monsters in the map. This can be useful when trying to create
Interesting.
singular, very powerful, and very rewarding monsters.
Yeah.
Something akin to meat sacks, which are making a reinvented comeback with this update too.
It's good.
Another is the All Flame Ember of Resplendence, which adds monsters that drop no items. But when you slay them, you get buff stacks of increased quantity and rarity to enhance the drops
Okay.
of all other monsters.
That should be
All
fun.
Flame Embers can be placed in your map device like scarabs, and used in conjunction with scarabs to further customize your maps. We're looking forward to seeing which combinations players find to enhance their maps. Perhaps you'll use all scarabs, all flames, or maybe mix and match. It's up to you.
There's gonna be some crazy juice this league.
The Mastermind's unique items have also been improved. The veiled modifiers generated on these items are now from a custom pool exclusive to those uniques. Bitter Bind Point, for example,
Yeah, that's a
can
better
now
way
have
to do
various
it.
Spectre-specific outcomes, such as +1 additional Spectre.
Makes them much more interesting.
Aside from
So
improved
plus one
rewards from the
Spectre?
Mastermind,
kinda
all the Safe
crazy.
House rewards have also been rebalanced. We've done a pass on the crafting sprees at the end of many safe houses. For those who aren't aware how these crafting sprees work, well, it's simple. There's a crafting bench with an item in it and a bunch of currency. There's a limited amount of time, and your only objective is to craft the best item possible before the time ends. One of the problems that the crafting sprees have is that they often require you to have specific items on hand in order to best maximize your result.
Oh,
But
do
how
they
are you
start with
supposed to know that
items then?
beforehand? In order to solve this, most of the crafting sprees now offer pre-generated items. This has also
like
allowed
that,
us to add much
actually.
more powerful crafting options in each spree. Let's take a look at a few examples. In this spree, a randomly generated amulet or ring will be waiting for you. Test your crafting skill or luck with this Reflecting Mist crafting spree, and see if you can create something worthy of Kalandra's praise. And in this spree, you will find a pre-generated unique item, and a new kind of orb that resembles a Val orb, but not quite the same. Normally, you can only corrupt an item once, but uniques in this spree can be corrupted and re-corrupted as many times as there are orbs. This orb also
That's
allows you to get 2
cool.
corrupted implicits, and has a much lower chance to brick the item. It can be a very useful tool for seeking specific corrupted implicit outcomes.
So that's a lot like
Of
how
course, if
the
you push your
Valor
luck,
works
you
in
can
PoE
still ruin
2.
the item.
That's
There
pretty
are also
awesome.
crafting sprees where you still need to provide an item, but those items are generally more accessible and it occurs less frequently. This one allows you to bring your own normal rarity item, then just go ballistic with a whole ton of scouring orbs and orbs of chance, hoping to
Oh.
get your ideal unique. For most sprees, the rank of the syndicate member increases the amount of currency provided, the quality of the pre-generated items, and the time allowed to craft your item. Aside from the crafting sprees, there are other new options too. If you love gambling for currency, how about you try opening Varici's Emperor's Luck chests? These work just like the Emperor's Luck
is-
divination
I like
card
these
and provide
changes.
full stacks of currency. If you're lucky enough, unlike me, you could end up with a whole lot of divines. Betrayal is a good source of veiled items. Veiled items have some important quality of life improvements in this expansion too. All of the crafting bench options normally granted by unveiling items are instead now moved to the core game. so you don't need to run Betrayal to unlock them. They are instead found
I'm
at the
still
entrances to
unsure
boss
about that
rooms and
change.
in-game maps.
I think overall it's
On top of
probably
that,
for the best.
you no longer need to speak to Jun to unveil items.
This is good.
You can
This
just
is a good
right-click them,
change.
or
For
the
sure.
equivalent on gamepad, and select which veiled modifier you want to unveil. Overall, Betrayal is now much more streamlined and more rewarding. Happy interrogations.
Okay, I'm interested in engaging with Betrayal again now. I already like Betrayal
Now,
quite a
before we
bit,
get
but
into
those
our
are good
quality of life
changes.
additions, let's quickly talk about some character balance. We will be doing our regular character balance changes, where we are bringing outliers in line to help evolve the meta, but we are also focusing our attention on buffing some specific things. This includes spellcasting supports that specifically enhance self-casting builds, channeled spells, adding new options to the Guardian,
Ooh.
Berserker,
Random
Elementalist,
shrine buff.
Saboteur, and Champion Ascendancy classes, which include some favorites from some of the alternate classes from Legacy of Frisia, and buffing a whole bunch of transfigured gems that never really hit the mark.
I'm actually
Combined
excited
with the
about
new in-game
that.
crafting,
Bringing some of the
improved
Frisia
betrayal
stuff
crafting
into the
options,
classes.
rune graphs for your passive tree, new pinnacle
That's
unique
cool.
items, new modifiers and Trarthus gems from the Mercenaries, and of course the Mercenaries themselves to act as an extension to your character, it's safe to say there's a lot of new character options and builds to think about.
Yeah.
Instead of delving
for
into all
sure.
of these in more detail, we figured we'd just let you absorb them through the patch notes so you can do it at your own pace. In the Secrets of the Atlas expansion, we've also added a lot of the
So
quality of
they
life
already
features that we
posted
know
a few
you've all
of
been
these
asking for.
on Twitter.
A lot of these have already been posted, but let's take a look now in case you missed any. You can now pause the game at any time
This
by
is
pressing
exciting.
escape to open the menu.
I had a feeling they
or
were going to
by
add
opening
this
any full screen
eventually.
interface, like the passive tree.
They actually did it
You'll
faster
also be
than I
paused if
thought.
any lag is detected or if you disconnect.
That's very good
It's
to
worth
have.
noting that in certain pinnacle arenas, a debuff will be applied to you that prevents you from pausing.
That makes sense.
We're also making a change to how you use currency items on strongboxes
This is a very
and
good one,
monsters
too.
imprisoned in essences. Based on the currency in your inventory,
If nothing else,
and
for the
state of
fact
strongbox,
that
these buttons will appear.
it'll make it
Valuable
less
currency
common
like
for me to
divine
forget
orbs
to
have been
use my
excluded from
remnants
this
of
as it would often
corruption.
be wasteful to use in this
'Cause
context.
I
The
usually
same
bring
applies
them
to
in, but I
essences
forget
with
to
the
use
remnant of
them.
corruption currency. Orbs of Horizon have been updated. They can now re-roll your Elder and Conqueror Guardian maps. Doing so will re-roll the base map and the Guardian
This
of
is
that map.
nice. So many
The
times
map
I'm
device
just
now
waiting
has a
for the
small
last one
additional
to drop.
inventory. This is particularly useful if you're rolling many maps to run in sequence, or if you want to use varying amounts of scarabs or other map fragments. During breach encounters, all the splinters will be automatically collected and dropped at the end of the breach.
Oh, that's nice.
On gamepads, we have separated the targeting of monsters and non-monsters, so you are able to target them independently. This removes a bunch of frustration when you are trying to interact with objects in the world and monsters are
I never
nearby.
play with a gamepad, so
You
it
no
wouldn't-
longer have to kill all of them first.
does sound annoying though.
Vendor windows will now remember your last search. This is remembered until you log out and is remembered on a per NPC basis. The
Interesting.
amount of characters you can type in the search field has also been increased. When using currency items, after right-clicking them, it will highlight all other items which that currency can be used on.
Oh, that's nice. That's how it works in PoE
There are
too.
many other quality of life improvements, so keep an eye on the patch notes after this livestream concludes. Alongside the launch of Secrets of the Atlas, we are hosting a competitive event where players will race to be the first to kill the new pinnacle bosses. The event will take place in the hardcore, solo self-found Mercenaries of Trarthus League. We have some interesting prizes in store for the winners. Keep an eye on the news in the lead up to launch for more details about how the event will work and what its prizes are.
Thanks for watching, guys. This was a pretty interesting experience for me. Like I said, I've never really done a live reaction before, but I think it went all right. Made me realize I say the word interesting a lot, so I got to work on that a little bit. And I just need to work on like thinking of things to say a little bit more, but I'm going to do it going forward and I'll probably get better at it. But I appreciate you guys watching. I'm going to do a breakdown of the patch notes, probably just hit the highlights, not a full breakdown, in the next couple of days, and I'll do a thoughts video about this as well. But overall, as a TLDR, I am pretty excited. I think the new endgame looks really cool, and I think the new mechanic is going to be a lot of fun to interact with. Mercenaries was not something I expected, but it's welcome, in my opinion. But yeah, I appreciate you guys watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace out.